Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had our first little primary poll, if you want to call it that, that was released, I think, yesterday by Echelon Insights. So it's both the Democrat and Republican primaries. I'm going to go through this starting with the Democrats and give my analysis. Obviously, it is very, very early, but people were extremely surprised to see Kamala Harris, the loser of every single swing state in 2024, be number one, and not just number one in terms of this poll, 41%. The next closest, Gavin Newsom. Actually, the next closest is undecided, I should say, with 16%. Goes to show you how meaningless this poll really is. But in terms of this, Kamala Harris being at 41%, I can guarantee you Kamala Harris will not be the candidate in 2028 for the Democrats. This is just name recognition. This is people really not knowing the other Democrats. I mean, you can even see Tim Walz, who has less than a 0% chance. I mean, there's no way Tim Walz is going to be the Democratic nominee in 2028, but he's got a 6% chance, higher than Gretchen Whitmer. Why is that? Because people know Tim Walz. He's been in the news. So that's why Kamala is at 41%. It kind of invalidates this entire poll. But I mean, I respect them for doing this, even putting out a poll this early, just for fun and just for me to talk about. But it's not going to be Kamala Harris. So it kind of invalidates the entire thing. But I will talk about the other ones on this list. You do have Gavin Newsom at 8%. I think Gavin Newsom maybe peaked a little bit too early. I think Gavin Newsom's time would have been in 2024, possibly in a open convention if Biden did not endorse Kamala. They would have had some type of open convention and maybe Newsom could have gotten it. I don't think Democrats really want Newsom. I mean, Newsom is from California. Seems like they really want someone from either the Rust Belt or a swing state, and Newsom really gives them no electoral advantage. I just don't see Newsom. I mean, right now, Newsom is like the chalk favorite if you had to pick someone, a slight favorite. It's not like he's a heavy favorite like J.D. Vance is with the Republicans. But right now, Newsom would be like the slight favorite there. Me personally, I don't think it's going to be Newsom. Next, you do have Josh Shapiro. So you could argue like Josh Shapiro is maybe the better version of Newsom. He's less polarizing. Now, a lot of the reason he's less polarizing is because, number one, he's got the personality, it seems like, of a robot. He's got very little personality. And number two, he's not that popular. So he's got a very good approval rating. He's in Pennsylvania. I mean, you'd think those are two good things. That's why I thought he was going to be the VP for Kamala. There have been reports that have come out that maybe Shapiro turned down Kamala and he wanted nothing to do with that ticket because he knew Kamala was going to lose. And if you go down with that ticket, it's going to be very hard to recover from that. And so Shapiro wants a clean run in 2028. I'm sure Newsom and Shapiro are going to run outside of something crazy happening in 2028. I would say Shapiro might have a slight edge over Newsom, but right now I would say neither of them are the favorite. Pete Buttigieg will not be the nominee for the Democrats. They're just not going to pick someone like that. He has an outside chance of being the VP. He won't be the nominee, I'll tell you that. Walz, 0% chance. AOC, 0% chance. AOC might decide to run just for the experience and the notoriety, but her next step is probably running for Senate. Seems like she's really trying to like move back towards being just a normal leftist rather than doing all the socialist stuff, things like that. There's just no path forward within the Democratic establishment. Look at Bernie Sanders and how likable he was and what happened to him in 2016 and 2020. And I think AOC realizes that. So she's trying to become just like a typical liberal. She's younger, so she's obviously going to be a little bit more left on some of the issues. But, you know, she takes the pronouns out of the bio. It seems like she's coming back. And I mean, I saw some videos where she was reflecting on the loss and trying to change the branding of the liberal message. She did say some different things. I mean, because a lot of these people, you just think of these younger liberal women, they're so rabid and they're just like, Trump's racist, he's terrible, the country sucks. But it did seem like she was kind of being like, well, no, he was saying things that the country wanted to hear, and Democrats need to change certain things. It's like most of the young liberal women are just rabid, and they just think the country's all racist whenever they lose, and they just lash out. And she really wasn't doing that. So we'll see with AOC, but she's too young in 2028. And I think the idea would be J.D. Vance wins, and then maybe AOC faces that's way ahead, but maybe AOC faces J.D. Vance in 2032. Gretchen Whitmer would be a top contender. She's at 3% in this poll, but I would say it's Newsom, it's Shapiro, it's Whitmer, and then it's Andy Beshear. I would actually say right now Andy Beshear is probably a slight favorite to get the nominee if I had to pick right now. Now, that's very early, but it's those four. Pritzker's got a 0% chance. If they were going to choose a billionaire or like some type of, person like that, it would probably be Cuban, or I think it would be Jon Stewart. So Pritzker, it's not going to happen with him. And then all the rest of I know Wes Moore has been talked about. I highly doubt it. You can see 16% undecided. But in terms of this list, you're looking at Newsom, you're looking at Shapiro, you're looking at Whitmer, you're looking at Beshear. Those are the four I would say right now for the Democrats. And I think Newsom peaked too soon. I think Shapiro is just kind of bland. I don't think they'll pick Whitmer because they're not going to do another woman, honestly. I mean, we saw with Kamala, and I guess they could, but it's probably going to be a white dude if I had to guess. And Bashir right now would probably be the favorite. Maybe Mark Cuban, maybe someone else, a celebrity. Who knows? Seems like liberals are trying to embrace like the whole celebrity thing. So maybe they will go with like a Jon Stewart or something. But I think Newsom peaked too early. Kamala at 41 is just name recognition. There's just zero chance that the Democratic establishment would allow Kamala, especially after losing the popular vote to Trump. There's just no way. So there is the Democrats, and then there also is the Republicans here. Nothing too surprising. You can see this is the exact same thing where it's got Vance at 37%, but the second highest choice is undecided at 18%. The wild card right off the bat that's not on this list would be Tucker Carlson. Now, with the Republicans, it's a lot harder to have a fun primary, if you will, because it just seems like it's going to be very chalky with J.D. Vance being the pick. When you look at J.D. Vance, his career trajectory, it's just an arrow pointing up. At a young age, being a senator, winning in a Midwestern state in Ohio in 2022, he becomes the VP. Trump basically endorses him by making him the VP, and then J.D. Vance is able to turn around his approval rating. Remember, liberals were successfully able to label J.D. Vance as like this woman hater, and his approval rating was -14, -15, and the exit polls had J.D. Vance's approval rating on election night better than the other three candidates, better than Trump, better than Walz, better than Kamala. And so Vance was just able to turn himself around completely. He's very articulate. He's very smart. He's able to kind of massage the MAGA message in a nicer way, which could help him in a state like Virginia. And it just, it would be very surprising. I mean, the dynamic here is Trump has basically endorsed J.D. Vance. And so you've got Trump who's in control of the party right now. Obviously, Trump just won. How would Trump endorse someone other than J.D. Vance if J.D. Vance is the VP and Trump, let's say he has a good term or at least an okay term? I think the only way it's not J.D. Vance is if something happens to where Trump either, and we've seen Trump do unorthodox things before, maybe endorses his son, Don Jr. And listen, I don't want that to happen. I'm just saying this is the thing that could happen because he is his son. Don Jr. is not on here, or maybe endorses Vivek. I mean, Vivek is definitely going to be in the news all the time. Vivek might be more in the news than J.D. Vance because the VP job really isn't all that important, but you do get notoriety. But Vivek's going to have that Doge thing with Elon, and they're constantly going to be doing stuff. I think Vivek is blocked by J.D. Vance in 2028. I do. Nikki Haley is the establishment candidate. The Republican establishment's gotten completely run over. It's just not going to happen with Nikki Haley. DeSantis, people were surprised DeSantis is this low at 8%, but a lot of the DeSantis stuff is, if DeSantis would have said in 2023, I'm not running for president in 2024, I want to be Trump's VP, Trump on the spot would have said, yes, let's do it, and DeSantis would be the heavy favorite. Let's just say Trump wins with DeSantis as the VP. DeSantis would be a heavy favorite right now. He'd basically be in J.D. Vance's role, except even a higher chance because you got to remember how likable DeSantis was with Florida and how he turned that state into a bright red state. But not only that, just the notoriety with DeSantis. And, he decided to run against Trump, and I don't blame him. I mean, you go back to 2022, if you look at the betting, I mean, he was the favorite over both Biden and Trump to be the next president because of the likability, because of all the cases that Trump had, because of January 6th, because of all the lingering stuff, and obviously Biden being ridiculously old. He was the favorite, so he took a chance at it, and it didn't work out at all, and he was trying to thread a needle. He couldn't really be the establishment, but he also couldn't be anti-establishment because Trump was that. Haley was the establishment. He was trying to be in the middle. It just didn't work. He just got ran over. And so it's unfortunate for DeSantis, but it's not looking likely. I mean, he did have a chance. And look, what it was looking like in 2022, 2023, it was looking like Trump was going to lose or possibly not even be the candidate. So DeSantis saw an opportunity and it just didn't happen. But if DeSantis would have said, no, the MAGA movement is too strong, I realize that, I'm fine with being Trump's VP. That's pretty much going to guarantee me as long as Trump wins in 2024. That will guarantee me the spot in 2028, which it would have, but he decided not to do that. And it's a risk assessment, and obviously it didn't work out for him. But we'll see what happens with DeSantis. I mean, I like DeSantis, but it's going to be very hard for him to be the nominee with J.D. Vance in his way. You've got Cruz at 5%. Yeah, it's not going to happen for Cruz. Cruz's chance was 2016. Rubio is in Trump's administration. A lot of Republicans really don't like that because of the Israel-Palestine ties. I mean, I like Rubio with the being a war hawk against China. But yeah, the Israel stuff I'm not a big fan of. But when it comes to Rubio, I'd be shocked. Very similar to Cruz, maybe a little bit higher chance because he's in the administration. Sarah Huckabee Sanders at 2%, it's not going to happen. She's got like an outside chance of being a VP maybe, but even that, it would be Tulsi over her. But even if it was a woman, it would be Tulsi over Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Josh Hawley, maybe as a VP, although it's unlikely. Tim Scott, I highly doubt it. Youngkin could be a VP to Vance. I could see a Vance-Youngkin ticket. Vance-Youngkin, Vance, maybe Vivek. Although I don't know if Vivek would want to do that. Or Vance DeSantis. I don't know if DeSantis would want to be VP. Vance Gabbard, that would be the one that really balances itself. Kristi Noem, I highly doubt it. Katie Britt, I highly doubt it. Maybe as a VP. Undecided at 18%. So, JD Vance is the heavy favorite right now. There's no doubt about it. It's just hard to see anyone else. As long as Trump's campaign and his administration goes at least semi to plan, why would Trump endorse anyone other than his young up-and-coming VP? And now if things go off the rails, stuff happens, the party falls apart, you could see other people get involved. But if it is a chalky thing, you would expect Vance to be a heavy, heavy, heavy favorite. Unless Trump goes off the rails and says, I like JD, but I'm endorsing my own son, or I'm endorsing Vivek or someone else. It just depends. What does Trump do? That's what we really have to think about when it comes to that. But right now, I would say the heavy favorite is JD Vance. But either way, guys, it is going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.